Good day, good day, good day. We're here again. It's Startup and Innovators on Atlanta Discuss. Yes, Startup and Innovators. We need to encourage those that are startups. It's not easy starting a business from the scratch, teaching stage. It's not easy. I've been there, so I know, I mean, it's daunting. It can be scary. Sometimes it looks so impossible, but people are doing it, especially people of African descent, I mean. Nigerian descent. People say I'm biased about Nigeria. Yes, I am, because Nigeria is the largest concentration of Black people on the planet. One out of every four sub-Saharan African is a Nigerian. One out of every six Black person in the world is a Nigerian. So yes, the country is not doing as well as it should be, but then we have Nigerians doing great things all over the world. That's why we need to celebrate them. And today we have Waheedat Owodeyi. Wahida, welcome to Atlanta Discuss.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You're most welcome. So for your information, she's a startup and she's doing very well. She's a pharmacist. She has an online pharmacy. She has a tourism business, and she's partially into cosmetics and all that. So she's going to tell her story. But let me introduce her in my own way, and she will tell her story to you people. Because I'm sure you're all eager to listen to what she has to say. She's a fantastic example of what we're trying to look at. Everybody's not into IT. We're not all nuclear scientists, but if you're carving a niche in one area, you are a startup. So we've had cases where some of our guests are startup and innovators. In some ways, she's also an innovator, but she's majorly a startup. Why that British Nigerian pharmacist? She lives in the UK. She has accumulated more than 2 decades of experience in various aspects of pharmacy practice. That's a lot, 20 years. Yeah, pharmacy practice and research. Currently, Waheedat is the owner and superintendent of Pharmacy Express. And did I pronounce that well?
Yeah, that's right. Pharmacy Express.
Okay. An online pharmacy based in Great Yarmouth in the UK. She's licensed as a pharmacist both in the UK and in Nigeria. Wyatt has been a pharmacist since 2002 and was licensed to practice as a pharmacist in the United Kingdom in 2007. Prior to setting up online business in 2016, she had worked as a pharmacist with Boots and Asda. I'm sure everybody in UK is, very familiar with that. I mean, she did that for more than 5 years, practiced as a local pharmacist for more than 4 years. But as an undergraduate, Waheedat was the deputy secretary of the Pharmaceutical Student Association of Nigeria. Yeah, she has politics in the system there. Yeah, an umbrella body for all the students of pharmacy in Nigeria. Okay, she was also the lead pharmacy for community network in Waveney and Great Yarmouth, coordinating and acting as a liaison for about a dozen different community pharmacies. Wow, that's impressive. With Royal Pharmaceutical Society and the NHS. She has also completed the NHS Mary Sickle Leadership Development Program. Wow, we have to clap for her. So in 2004, she earned a master's degree in clinical pharmacy from the University of London. She also, in 2007, received a pharmacy diploma from the University of Sunderland. Okay, so in 2002, she completed a bachelor's degree in pharmacy from Olabisi Onabanjo University, that's in Ogun State. She has also completed the independent prescribers program at Keele University, where that is certified as a weight management advisor, smoking cessation advisor, a child vaccination expert. She has successfully run the only COVID vaccination center in Great Yarmouth for almost 3 years. Wow, wow, wow. So she's married to a physician, great guy, and is blessed with two wonderful daughters. So, I mean, why am I saying all this? You must tell your story. So I mean, for this program, clearly, she's a pharmacist. I've read her profile. But she has an online pharmacy, which she runs from her home. She's going to describe it for you. She also runs a travel and tourism business. You like, what's a pharmacist doing in the travel and tourism business? Very welcome what she's doing it. Okay, she's one leg in, one leg out in the cosmetology business, which is understandable because she's a pharmacist. She should be interested in that. So why not? Tell us a story. Who are you? How did you get to where you are currently?
All right. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your program,
Most
and it's really
welcome.
an honor.
You're most
When
welcome.
people say you've done quite well, I tell myself like maybe I still have a few miles that I'm looking at that I should be able to achieve. But when you read all that up, I felt like, okay, yeah, I think I've done something so far.
Absolutely, absolutely. You never know, until until
So you start, they always say. All right, I'll introduce myself. My name is Waheedat Owodeyi. I'm a pharmacist by background. Like you said, I did my first degree in pharmacy, which was in um, Nigeria from Olabisi Onabanjo University in Nigeria. So I did qualify with that in 2002. So I've been qualified for, I think this month will be 23 years. Make me sound like I'm very old, but
wow, how time
I've done
flies, man.
pharmacy. Yeah, it does fly very quickly. I've done the pharmacy for over 20 years now, I always say. Um, I started my career in the United Kingdom by doing a master's degree first, and then I did the conversion course, and I qualified as a pharmacist in the UK in 2007. So I've done various work with other pharmacies before I started mine in 2016. So it was actually yesterday that it was 9 years
Oh
that
wow.
I've actually started the pharmacy, um, online pharmacy business. To quite a few individuals, they always think that online means you just do prescriptions or like you put up on your thing. We're a bit of like an innovator. So we're
Mhm.
part of those who, yeah, we do online, we do prescriptions, but we do so many other services within that perspective as well, even though we're classed as online. So we do various services within the pharmacy itself. So everything from like weight management that you mentioned, to
Okay.
earwax removal, to travel vaccinations. We do like phlebotomy. All these different services, you have to do training in them. So we've done so many other trainings to be able to do those services as well. And like you said, I not only do pharmacy, like they always say, you can do just one source of business. So I have dabbled into quite a few. So I do a cosmetic one that you said, which is the skincare, Mary Kay. I also do now very actively my an independent travel agency, which is actually the home business is actually based in the US where you are. Um, but it's an online travel agency which you can basically work from any part of the world where you are. So I've done the pharmacy for over 20 years. I've run my own pharmacy for 9 years. I've done the travel for about 3 years now, the same as the skincare business as well. So it's been quite a few different businesses that I've put myself into. At the moment, I'm starting up what we call like a pharmacy consultancy service as well, where based on what you've said, people come to me and ask, oh, can you explain this? Can you do that? And you do it from the good of your heart and try to help people. But you get to a stage, you get so many people asking, you're thinking, okay, now let's me be able to like provide a service where they get enough of my time for them to say that it is worth it. And they know that when they're coming to ask, they're getting a great deal for what they do. So I've already started it anyway, a pharmacy consultancy service as well, which basically helping individuals to say, okay, if you want to start your own pharmacy, how do you go about it? How can you improve it? How can you make your pharmacy a successful one? So that will be in a nutshell all I do. So pharmacy, skincare, and the travel.
Oh wow, interesting. So, I mean, how do we reconcile you going to travel tourism, and pharmacy? Where's the entrepreneurship genes come from? Is it hereditary or you just have a knack for it?
Oh, well, I'll say the entrepreneurship come from both my parents.
Oh
My
wow.
mom used to run a poultry. She does it even till today. We still
Oh
have a
wow.
poultry house, and we used to help with when she gets like the chicks when they're trying to make them grow and all that and build it up. And when they all become big ones, you have to go and sell it. in the market and like on the road for Christmas and stuff like that. So we've done everything from like the scratch. And my dad also has like a consultancy service. He's a town planner. He used to be a lecturer. He's retired. Both of them are retired now anyway. So he has his own consultancy service. So it's always been like within the family, that entrepreneur thing has always been there. So I think maybe I picked that up when I was back home as a student. Maybe I didn't really explore that. But when you get somewhere else and you're thinking, oh, you have to make yourself stand out, all those things come back to you and then you make use of them.
Oh, man. So why pharmacy? Did you just was it? I was given the option of medicine or engineering. I had to pick one.
Okay.
So what happened to you? Did you just pick it or did you just stumble on it?
I think when I was a lot younger, it was even when you know in Nigeria when you finish the what do they call it now? Year nine here, it's GS3. And when
Okay.
you finish GS3, when you go to the SS, the
Mm-hmm.
senior secondary school, they'll tell
Yeah.
you either have to do a science or you have to do arts. So they don't
Arts.
give you a
Okay.
choice of in between. Yeah, so you have to choose one of those. So I remember then I told my mom like, oh, I want to do accountancy. And my mom was like, oh, accountancy is fine. But why don't you do science? Because science, if you do it now, then it's easier for you if you decide you want to go back to accountancy. I'm not saying accountants are not brilliant.
Mhm.
No word of that. But she kind of like convinced me to say, oh, do science rather than arts because you'll be able to give yourself more options. So I did. I was like, okay, I'll do science. Then when I started the science, I was like, okay, so what do you want to do? Do you want to do medicine? Do you want to? I was like, no, I can do. Now I'm a phlebotomist, but then I was like, no, I can do blood. I'm not doing medicine. I will stick with medication. I'll do pharmacy. So that's how I got into pharmacy. And I did like chemistry then. So I was like, okay, I'll do a bit of pharmacy because that has to do with chemistry, which I enjoyed while I was in high school then.
Interesting. So, how do you ensure the quality and safety of your product and services, especially in the online? Because I was reading, there were things in your profile I didn't read out that, okay, on prescription, maybe you are low on that, but on services, you are giving so much. So, what are the safety, the quality and safety of the product services offered on your online services? What are the procedures, if you understand what I'm trying to say?
All right. So for the online pharmacy, individuals always think that because it's online, that means you don't actually exist. But we basically exist just like a brick and mortar pharmacy. So
Mhm.
you still have a store, you still have like a building where your what's it called, the medications come into, the medications are delivered. The only difference in the UK regulation for online pharmacy is the
Mhm.
fact that you don't have patients coming in to pick up prescriptions. So
Mm.
they don't pick up prescriptions. Although there's a bit of a few changes that just came in last week as well, but that is not actually starting yet. They're still looking into all of that. But as a present, all they say is, oh, the patient can come in to pick up the prescriptions. So we have to get the prescriptions, we have to make it all up, and we have to deliver it. So we have exactly the same principle and the same checks like a brick and mortar pharmacy. So you use the same suppliers like a brick and mortar pharmacy. They will deliver the medication to you, and you have set of suppliers that you have to go through, which is regulated by the MHRA and all that to say that, okay, they are individuals that are supplying medication, which they know they're genuine and the one that is accredited as well. So we have all those. Then in terms of like compliance, you have to have the regulations in terms of like standard operating procedures, which you have to follow. Like your staff have to do training, you yourself have to do training. So all those are the things that you put together, which means that you're providing exactly the same service like a brick and mortar pharmacy that anybody else can walk into.
Okay. So, what are the significant challenges that you've gone through and how did you surmount them?
All right. Well, I think when you first start, like any individual that's starting a business, you're gonna be like, oh, what are you supposed to do? Where do you start? What are you even doing? I remember my like maybe my first week in doing the pharmacy, I didn't even have what we call because ours you have to print off. The prescription became online prescriptions as well, so
Mm.
you don't have to physically go to the doctors to pick the prescription up. They just do it, send it to your computer, and you print it off. But when you print it off, it has to be on a set of paper that is provided by the government. The
Mhm.
first week that I started, I didn't even have that paper because I couldn't get hold of it. I had to like,
Wow.
you have to tell certain section of the government, then they have to do something, and then they have to put you on the order, and then the order have to come to you and all that. So I didn't even get that. But because you build up a relationship that is good, I was able to go to another pharmacy and say, oh, can I have some of yours so I can use it in the meantime till my order came in. So those are the kind of challenges that you will come across when you first start. And also you have the challenge of thinking, oh, the finance, where are you gonna get the finance? How are you gonna start? What is the regulation and things like that? Those are all the things that you have to look into. Those are the kind of things that I say now that I'm doing like a pharmacy consultancy. I'm able to like explain that to individuals and make
Mhm.
their journey shorter compared to mine that went round and round until I got to where I was. Because
Yeah, 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 yeah. The sacrificial lamp. Yeah. Went through cross, then we learn from you. Others
yeah,
learn
but
from
that is the way I look at it now. Like, oh,
you.
you might have gone through so much, but
Mhm.
if you have the knowledge now, you are able to like provide that knowledge to others and give them that opportunity of making their progress quicker rather than taking a longer period.
That's it would be unfair not to commend you for saying it like that because I've seen scenarios where people like, oh, I went through so much getting here. I'm not going to help people have a shortcut to it. They have to go through the same thing I went through. So I think, yeah, I think we should commend you for that. So do you think what you're doing, do you think it's possible in Nigeria? The online format, do you think it's possible?
Right now, maybe some people do it.
Mm,
How effective it is, I'm not sure. But I
mm,
know some individuals do such that, oh, you can go online, you can
mhm.
buy the product, and they will deliver it to you.
Okay.
The difference in hours, for example, is not just about like even if you go to my website, I don't sell anything. So
Hmm.
that's maybe one of the difference of mine. Maybe I could if I decide to look into that and say, oh, how can I get things done? That is one that I might be able to do. But I don't. I don't. So it's more like, oh, you're looking at a situation where what is your focus? So like ours, which I said earlier, our focus was more of like, oh, our pharmacy focus was more of services. So
Hmm.
whether the services you're providing a service to the NHS or you're providing a private service, that was more of what our focus is. So basically people still come in, we provide the service, and then we are able to like help individuals. We're basically plugging the gap between what the NHS can provide and what we as a private service can provide. So that is it. In terms of Nigeria, I know they do have like online, which I said now, that will say, okay, you click on there, you say you want paracetamol, and then they deliver it to you, which is fine. The only thing I don't know if they've innovated enough is to say, okay, I want to do this service. Will I be able to like come to that pharmacy to get that service done? I know there's a colleague which I've seen his advert, like he does, like I do travel. I know he does travel now as well because I've seen they've done a few things on Facebook saying, oh, come and have your hepatitis vaccination or come and have chicken pox. So I believe like in Nigeria, it's not about the will whether it's going to they'll be able to do it. It's about is the facilities available for them to be able to do it. So for example, somebody that's going to do vaccination, how do you guarantee that you can keep that stock in the
Mm.
temperatures
Oh,
if
okay.
the electricity is not going to be in constant supply? If you understand, those are the kind of challenges that they might go through. It's not about whether they can do it. It's about if the facilities are there for them to be able to get those things done in the right way.
Fantastic. So let's talk about your travel and tourism business. So what inspired you to, yeah, I'm really interested in that. So what inspired you to start the travel and tourism business and what are the services you offer?
Okay, so with the travel, it's an independent travel agency.
Mhm.
And what really inspired me was more like, yes, I'm doing pharmacy, is all I've known. And I was thinking, okay, I want to do another business that's gonna be um nothing to do with like medicine or pharmacy, something that is completely different, but something that I will enjoy and something that I'll be able to like get individuals interested in. I've always loved to travel. I always use one incident to describe myself when I was in uni. There was a couple of friends then, well, I think we were almost in our final year then when they were getting married. And we had five different people that was trying to get married within a weekend, like from Friday to Sunday. And it
Oh, wow.
wasn't in just one place. It wasn't like one was Agowoye, one was in Lagos, it was Shagamu. It was all over the place. Well, by some miracle, I attended all the five because
Oh,
that's the
wow.
kind of person I am. Because I do enjoy going out, I do enjoy like being around people and stuff. And I was able to do that within that like 72 hours. So I've always have that in me that I like going out and stuff with it. So when I saw the travel, I was like, oh, that is good. That will give me the opportunity to be able to like travel more, to be able to see more of the world. And that opportunity was not just about the travel itself. It's about what everything else that it brings. So it's an online independent travel agency. Within that travel agency, we are able to provide what do you call it? The travel advice and travel schedule for individuals in a way that will be able to provide that travel to them for that particular period. And at the same time, we earn commission from it. So if I book a travel for you, I will do all the itinerary for you. Well, after you've paid for it, you're not gonna pay anything extra. You're gonna pay the normal things that you pay. But because I'm the travel agent that put all the package together, they do pay us a commission for doing that. And that is part of what the travel business is all about. Every single travel that you do is already got like a commission built into it. So
Mhm.
basically, it's like, oh, you book a flight, it has a commission onto it. You book an hotel, there's a commission. Even the transfers, airport parking, lounge access, and things like that. Even car hire, they've already built a commission into it. So when you go online and book it yourself, because that's what people say. Oh, why do I need to use a travel agent? I can book it online. Yes, you can book it online, but you're just leaving money on the table because nobody's gonna pay you that commission because you're not the travel agent. But if you have, then you do get that commission paid to you for doing all that work of putting everything together. And what that particular travel agency do is not just about booking just the travel. So we can do everything from we're doing the flight, we're doing the hotel, we're doing the transfers, we're doing airport parking, you're doing car hire,
Oh,
we're doing
wow.
cruises.
Oh,
We
wow.
can book cruises. And we do what we call hospitality as well. So in hospitality, you have things like, oh, football tickets, you have Formula One tickets, you
Mm.
have what's it called? They're playing the tennis. You know, the ticket for
Oh,
you to be able to
Wimbledon. Yeah, French
well,
Open.
and US Open, any of those ones, any of those sports activities, even like oh the boxing, they're doing a boxing in Saudi Arabia or boxing here or there, all those kind of tickets, we can provide it because that's part of like the hospitality section. So you have a wide variety of things that you do, which is not just travel. It even includes things like all the musicians. You know,
Mm.
oh, somebody is playing in O2, Ashake is playing in O2, Davido is playing in O2, and things like that. Or they're playing somewhere in the US, or any, we can get tickets for all of this. So it's not just due to flight and hotels. It's a wide range of things that can be covered. And even when you get to where you're going, for example, I think 2 years ago, I was in the US. My parents came down, so I went there to meet them, and my brothers came to join us as well. We were able to book attraction tickets within Boston. So, maybe you do all these up on up off bus that you're going to
Mhm.
tour the town and things like that. So, all those attraction tickets, we can get it within the travel agency business as well.
Oh, wow. So do you organize events? Are you into events too? Like maybe an event planner? Do you do that?
No,
Married? No, you don't do that. Okay,
no,
fantastic.
we don't do that. We just do like all the travel bits that is linked to
Trips.
it. So, for example, somebody wants to get married, we are able to like organize like oh the flight there or the what's it called the M party or whatever part so we can organize all of that, put it together. So you do that, you earn commission from it. But what even makes it a lot more interesting is not just the fact that you're earning commission from that because that's just one single source of income is the fact that if you introduce the business to somebody else, they compensate you for it. So
Oh,
we
wow.
always say, oh, you go out and tell everybody I'm in Starbucks or I'm eating in McDonald's or I've got Costa Coffee on me. That's a way
Mhm.
of you like you're basically advertising all those people, but they don't pay you anything for that advert. So with our travel agency, if you let other individuals know about the business and they come into the business and they start building up their own business, they pay you compensation for that introduction that you did for the other individuals. And it even gets better when you get to a certain stage within that travel business. They give you what they call like a director legacy. Basically,
Mm.
saying that if anything happens to you, yeah, we want to live a long life, but we don't know they've got even individuals within the business that has happened to. So if while you're within the business and you're still active in the business, if that person passes away, they give you a legacy where you can pass on your monthly income, your monthly revenue to your next of kin. So I can say, okay, my next of kin is gonna be maybe my girls or my husband or whoever, and whoever you chose, they will give that monthly income that you earn. They will continue to give it to those people for life when that person that started the business is not even there. So you have a legacy. So the business is not just for you,
Mhm.
but when you're not even here, the
And
business
it
is
can
still
be continued and sustained.
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So what are the challenges with the tour in this tourism area? I mean, every business has challenges.
Well, the only thing I would say to challenge is getting individuals to believe that, oh, if they come into the business, they can actually let the business grow. Because
Mm.
everybody will come in and say, oh, well, I don't have the time. I'm so busy for this. Where's the money? But the truth is, we all create time for things that we want. I can tell you today, I've been in God knows how many different places just today. And I kept telling my girls, like, oh, we have to get home. We have to finish because I have an interview at this time. I have to be ready. So it's about like if you want to get things done, you will create the time for it. So what
Absolutely.
the main challenge that people say is, oh, they don't have the time or they don't have the money. But we say when you come into the business, we're able to like guide you to say you don't have to sit down for 2 hours, 3 hours, even if you sit down for 15 minutes or
Hmm.
30 minutes, as long as you do it on a regular basis. Those
Hmm.
50 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, all compound so that at
Yeah,
the end the month, at the end of the year, you actually run a business that is flourishing, even though you think you don't have time. So that's one of the main challenge people say, and that's how we explain to them that what you need is pocket of time, not a
hmm,
lot of time.
not
Yeah,
a lot of time.
yeah,
Absolutely. I mean, I can use myself, I can relate to what you're saying because I mean I have my normal job profession, yeah, but now I'm into broadcasting, Now I have Atlanta Discuss where we discuss politics. I interview somebody every Friday. Startup and Innovators was just started for Wednesday,
yeah,
and now I have an online newspaper also. Then I have an
yeah,
editorial team and I'm paying them, out of
yeah.
pocket, yeah. So the point I'm trying to make really is that okay, there was a day I interviewed Dele Momodu. We were talking, he was in Nigeria. He told me he was flying to Accra, Ghana. So
Okay.
so we agreed we'll do it 10 a.m. Accra time. So it was about maybe 5 a.m. my time, you know.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
imagine.
so yeah, that day I got back from work, slept early. My plan was to wake up around 1 a.m. or thereabouts or 2 a.m. I slept like 7. By 9:30, I was awake. Wow. And I knew I couldn't afford to go back to sleep, So I was awake till that 5 a.m.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I'm just trying to relate what you say that if it has to be done, it has to be done. I
yeah.
mean,
You create
we
the
can't do
time.
everything ourselves, but if you want something done, you have to do it
You
yourself.
have to, yeah,
It's
you
not
have to
easy.
create that.
Yeah. I mean, you're 6 hours ahead of me now, so that kind of thing. You have to always create time. I mean, if you have passion for it, you have to do it. And time
Yeah.
waits for nobody. So let's talk about cosmetics, what's happening in that area.
Okay, so I started that is like an independent business as well. The main company is actually in the US. It's called
Yeah, you
Mary
said
Kay.
so.
So I've been in that one too now for almost like 3 or 4 years. I've done it. I've not been as active as I used to be, but I
Mhm.
have still do it. Even that's what I use for my face and my body and
But
everything,
yeah.
even till now within the business. So the American business itself, what that involves mainly is the skincare.
Mm.
So you have all the colors like makeup and lipstick and all that, but the skincare is the one that always like gives me more attention, because what we are not taught, what I always say, is when we're little about our skincare. So
Mhm.
nobody actually tells us, apart from saying, "Oh, put some cream, put some Vaseline on your body." Nobody actually tells you like, "Oh, you have to wash your face." You have to know that, oh, the skin of your face is different to other parts of your body, is different to what's on your feet and things like that. And there are various different products that you use for different parts of the body. Even now, when I explain to in the video, saying, oh, you have to use a different what's it called, wash, a different face wash from your face compared to your body. They're like, why? I'm like, well, it's two different skins. And the skin on your face for everybody is not the same. So some
Mm.
people will have a dry skin, some people will have like an oily skin, some people have in between. So the product you use will be tailored to what your skin type is. Most people will tell you, oh, I've used so many different products, nothing work. Nothing will work because you're not using the right product. So you
Mm.
might be using an oily skin product for your skin that is dry, or you're
Mm.
using a dry for the opposite side. So in the end, that product is not gonna work. So what we have to like educate individuals and educate people with is the fact that you have to know your skin type to start with, and it's learning those skin type that will determine the product that you're going to use and what you're going to use it for and how you can improve on that. I have had loads of people tell me, and they're like, "Oh, why you don't look at age? Your face doesn't look as old as you are." I said, "Yes, because I look after it, and I've
Mm.
done that for God knows how many years. And now I teach my kids to do the same. They are ladies, even men. You have product. I remember the first time I told my husband, "You have to use this face wash." He's like, "For God's sake, what is this one now? Why do I have to use it?"
I will have said the same thing.
Yes, I was like, well, you
Okay.
have to use it because you have to maintain the skin for your face. Now you
Mhm.
use it without any argument and stuff. The only argument I have now is, oh, my face wash has finished. Can you replace it? That's the only thing I have now. It's the difference because you will notice the difference
Mhm.
when you look after your skin. So that's the main thing. And not just here, even back home, people do that. But the difference is many people look at things like it's quite ironic because back home people want to be fair, and here people want to be dark. It's the other way around because we'll have individuals here that say they want to get a tan so that they be darker, whereas people back home in Nigeria say, oh, they want to be fair so that they can look a bit fairer. But the truth is, it's about looking after your skin. So it doesn't matter whether
Definitely.
you're fair or you're dark. If you look after the skin, that skin is going to look good, and that skin is going to be glowing, and people are going to actually notice the difference in you using a skincare product that works. And that particular company has been in existence for over, is it 60 years now or even more? So they've been existing for quite a long time, and they keep innovating, just like you said. They keep it after every few years, they bring up new products that they've put either new ingredients in them, or they've created some new things that they know it's going to be more effective than what they used to have before.
Wow, interesting. I was going to ask. I always ask most of my guests, has it been financially rewarding? So I think I know the answer to that. So I'm not gonna bother asking you. Yeah, even your smile answers it. Yeah.
Well, what I always say to individual is when you start a business, yes, if the finance is at the back of what you want to achieve.
Mhm.
But like you've said in within this interview, you have to have a passion for something.
Yeah, passion
You
is
have to
key.
have that passion. You don't necessarily have to say you've got the passion from the first day. But when you start learning more about the business, when you start growing within the business, that passion is gonna grow, and that passion is gonna show when you talk about it and when you explain it to individuals and to even either your customers or people that you meet. That passion is gonna show, and that passion is what makes the work that you're doing not so daunting. So you don't actually see it as a work; you see it more like you're doing something that you enjoy, and you're not gonna feel that, oh, it's too much or whatever. And then you put in that passion into it, and after a few years, you
Mhm.
might at the beginning feel like you're not making anything,
Absolutely.
but once
Mhm.
you build it up, you will definitely make money from it.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you again, what advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs? You've said a lot already, so Well, but I will still ask you anyway. So what advice do you have for young, especially females like you know, young, vibrant. You're not young, but you have the niche and you're a role model without any doubt. I'm sure your girls are very, very excited about, the mentorship. They're very lucky to have a mother like you. But what advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs who are looking to start their own business in healthcare or the tourism industry?
What I'll say is, number one thing is you have to start. Don't ever think like, oh, I have to make everything perfect first
Mm.
before I start. Because if you do that, you will never start. There
You
will not
never.
even be a starting point. Yeah. So you have to start. Once you know what you want to do, or you have an idea, you've got lots of different avenues. You can actually try and see if you can find a mentor. You can
Mhm.
find out, okay, about what is it gonna involve, what is the finance and stuff. But don't let any of those deter you. And don't let it feel like, oh, because somebody told me that I can never do it, then I'm not doing it. No. There's been so many cases of, I've been to places before and they tell me, oh, so who's the owner of the business? And I'm like, it is me. And they look back at you like, who? How come you are the one that owns the business? And I'm like, yes, it is me. So you get all sorts of different things that will like discourage you or make you feel like, oh, are you actually worth it? Well, we always tell ourselves, like, just start, build yourself up, and remain with that belief that you can actually do it and have that confidence. It's the confidence that builds up everything else within the business for you. And don't ever think like, oh, you want to start and you want to be a millionaire tomorrow. No, that doesn't
Mhm.
happen. You have to
You're
start from
saying, I like it.
somewhere.
You're saying the right thing. I remember
Yeah.
not with startup and innovators when I was doing Atlanta discuss, looking for politicians and people to talk to. I mean, it was really hard. It was really, really hard, But I mean, as God will have it, you just have to be consistent. You
Yeah.
have to be consistent. Now I have tons and tons of people on my speed dial now. So that's why I agree with you. And there are people I've spoken to and they're like, who are you? You want to,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's almost denigrating, but you just have to be, you know, now, most of those people, just the way we're talking, and that's how we talk. We're chummier, we're friends, and I think in almost everything you do, you will be discouraged. But what I
Yeah.
tell people, if you want something, don't do it yourself. If you think about what people will say, you'll not do anything. Yeah,
You never even
yeah.
start.
The third one is you can't give what you don't
You
have,
don't
you
have.
know.
Yeah.
So that's why it's self-development. I like reading. I can read anything. So I
Mhm.
mean, you're fantastic. So how do you balance your work, personal life as an entrepreneur? What strategies do you use to manage stress and maintain productivity? Because I mean, you have two daughters, you're married. I mean, after my have to cook, school runs. Oh, tending to men is a lot of work in itself. We're hands full. So tell me, how do you make all this thing work? Mental stress, productivity, how do you combine it?
Well, I think it's about looking at it from an inside perspective. I can give you an example of like my day to
Go
day,
ahead.
okay, of
Take your
waking
time.
up, we said, okay, this is what we're going to do today. I was telling the girls. The first thing I did this morning was I attended, we always have on Saturday mornings our travel business training. So I attended that, finished that, called some
So you're grooming the
suppliers.
girls for the business too.
Yeah, he called some suppliers for a cruise. And by
Oh
the time
wow.
before I finished that, I was already telling them, girls, go and have a shower. I'm supposed to go for a spa, so we'll go for the spa. You get your nails done. When we finish that, we'll go and have some dinner, so somewhere there. And then after that, and in between that, I still went to my pharmacy. I
Oh
went to the
wow.
pharmacy today to do like 1 hour of doing the prescriptions and stuff. But I'm already balancing it because even though I'm doing the work, I'm carrying the girls along. And I
Mhm.
gave them the opportunity to say, okay, today I'm doing a spa, you can get your nails done. After
Wow.
that, we'll go and have some dinner. And then, so you share that family time. So, like we always say, it's about breaking it all up so that they can see, so that they can. Even this evening, I told them, I'm in their room now. This is like their reading room. And before
Mhm.
I start, I said, oh, go and check you're not picking anything up. When I'm doing my interview, don't come into the room. So go and check the room. Anything you need, pick it out
Oh
and put it
God.
somewhere for that 1 hour that I'm going to do the interview. So I think it's more of like within that period of 24 hours, you're carrying them along, you're getting them organized. I'm not saying my house is perfect, no, but I'm saying that within that period of 24 hours, you've got enough time to be able to like speak to them. You've got enough time to be able to speak to your husband. You've got enough time to be able to do the activities that you have to do. It doesn't mean that you're going to be doing the work 24 hours. When I go for my spa, I sometimes do like a video, put it on like Facebook and these to. One day somebody was like, "Oh, how often do you do your spa? It seems like we always see you." I said, "Well, I do at least once a month. That's the minimum." I said, "That's my me time." That's a way of me saying I'm distressing because you're saying, "Oh, how do you distress?" And when I go in there, someone was like, "Oh, you have to enjoy it." I said, "No, I'm just in the spa. I go there, the person is doing the massage, I sleep off. I don't want to be
I don't blame you. Oh God,
it's
different
my
strokes.
own way of relaxing. So in between all of those, what I tell people is you create the time. As long as you know what you want, you create the time for the family, you create the time for the business itself, but you create the time for yourself as well. Because
Mhm.
if you're not creating the time for yourself, you can't, like they always say, you can't pour from an empty cup. You
That's true.
yourself have to be healthy, you yourself have to be organized, you yourself have to be in a good place for you to either even serve your customer or for you to even deal with your work colleagues or for you to
Yeah,
even be able to provide
absolutely,
any service
absolutely.
for anybody. So I always say I give myself that priority of saying, no, I create some me time. It might not be hours, it could be just half an hour, it could be 1 hour. So I create that mean time. I make sure that I still have time for my girls. I have time for the husband, and it's like you're trying to do blocks of things, but in between those, you're giving them the attention. Because people are like, oh well, if you do so many things, you're not gonna give your girls or the family attention. I say it's not about how many hours,
Hmm.
like they always say. It's about those blocks of hours or blocks of minutes that you're doing is effective enough for
Hmm.
you to be able to listen to what they want to say and for you to be able to give the advice to them.
Yeah,
And then
it's a
they take it.
quality. Yeah,
It's a quality. Yeah, that's the
quality and
word.
the
It's the
presence you
quality.
give. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's the quality time. That is what is important. Yeah.
A lot can be done in 30 minutes if you apply it properly, you know. Yeah.
Exactly.
A mentor told me once, earlier I was telling you things about um you can't give what you don't have. If you want something done,
Yeah.
do it and all that. The same person told me that it's important that it doesn't matter whether you're Muslim or Christian or even an ancestral worshiper, that as a rule that you must develop a personal relationship with your creator on your
With
own.
creator. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they told me number one, develop a personal relationship with your creator. Number two
Mhm.
was strive for financial independence. You understand?
Yeah.
Not from your normal career, side also one, side also two, side also three. Make sure you have financial independence. You understand?
Yeah.
The third one, what was the third one? He said, yes, organize your nuclear family very, very,
Right.
very. Yeah, he said that applies to men more, but it also applies to women. That if you can follow those three and it works out for you, you have a relationship with your creator. You don't have to go through any cleric anywhere to
Yeah.
communicate. Yeah, and when you
Go to
have
God directly.
and you go to God directly, you already know the way. Then when you have financial independence, you don't have to go and borrowing to, you're not amenable to the whims and caprices and devices of this world. And then if you organize your family very well and if you're lucky, all those three works for you. He said, I mean, the world as
It's your
much as it
oyster.
matters, yeah, you're in that your cocoon and everything is working well for you. Wow. So let's talk about culture. I mean, you Nigerian, you live in the UK. There's there are two different cultures. Two
Yeah.
completely different cultures. I mean, you're raising kids. You've seen the best of Nigeria. You went to school ab initio in Nigeria. So, what role do you think the culture plays? In shaping business practices and relationship, and how do you navigate culture differences at work? I mean, interaction with people.
I think the culture is like they always say, when you're Rome, you have to behave like a Roman.
Roman. I like that. I love. Uh,
So
in
our
biology, they call it adaptation and tolerance. Yeah,
yeah. So
I remember
so
that. I learned that in secondary school.
yeah, while you're here, You will have to adapt to like the culture and things that they do and how they do things. So for example, I'll use an example in terms of like our culture. Yeah, back home it's when when you have to go for something, you're never on time or this, or there's always one excuse or the other. But here that doesn't work. In the UK, they tell you, oh, you have to come to work at 9, you have to be there. Whether you're flying, whether you're crawling, whether, there's no excuse. You just have to get there on time and you keep to that time. So those are some of the things that people find like maybe difficult when they first start, and simple things that we 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 don't acknowledge, like saying, oh, thank you and please and things like that. Those are some of the little things. But as much as we say those are the culture here that is good that we can adopt, we have cultures from back home that we can bring in that we adopt as well. So we have the culture where we are able to say, oh, okay, if somebody is older than us, it doesn't mean you can't talk, but the way you speak to that person or how you address that person is completely different. We have the culture from back home that tell you like, oh, when you're dealing with a situation, don't just think that, oh, okay, you want it to be solved just by what you think. You have to think of like, oh, what's all the other people within. That even applies anywhere in the world that you are anyway. Like all the other individuals that is there, how is it going to affect them? And what are you going to be able to achieve? You're still going to have the challenge of being in a, what's it called? The challenge of being in a foreign country. And that challenge of being in a foreign country is because you have to appreciate that they might not be used to individuals from your part of the world. So
Absolutely.
you have to get used to that. I always use mine as an example. My girls were the only completely black individual in their primary school for
Oh,
5, 6 years
oh wow.
until a Nigerian came to the village where we are.
Yeah.
So it took a bit of like
I'm
a
sure you'll have been excited to see it. Oh God.
so it took a bit of what's it called, culture for even the school to be able to like get used to them. For example, they had to tell me like, oh, my daughter, oh, she doesn't know how to pronounce this, she doesn't know how to pronounce that. Is it because she speaks another language or you speak Yoruba to her and things like that? I said, yeah, I can speak Yoruba to her. They speak Yoruba to me as well back home, and I speak English, and I've got no issue. You understand? So it took a while. So when we had the first child, they were like, oh, she has to do this speech and language, these and speak. By the time the second child went in, and they said, no, don't even start all of that. You've already had one child in that school. You know how to deal with her. So this second one, deal with her without calling any speech and language person, because the problem is not speech and language. The problem is you have to understand that where
Oh
she
God.
comes from is different from where you come from. So those are the kind of things that you will have to explain to people,
Mhm.
and you will have to let them understand, and you will have to let them know that,
Yeah,
okay, yes, I'm from a different background, but it doesn't mean that I cannot blend with what is happening here. But
absolutely.
you have to give me the time and you have to be willing to learn. So we're learning from each other as
Oh,
well.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we're learning from each other as well for us to be able to like for us to be able to grow. And another thing that I learned, even the other day, my dispenser was still saying that we in Nigeria, you know how we dress. We are always colorful.
Hmm.
Here, people expect that, oh, when you go to work, you're either in blue or black or gray or something. It has to be very, 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 in a way that
Simple.
it's very, yeah, very simple
Simple.
and looks formal and stuff. And I say, yes, that is fine, but it doesn't mean that you can't take that culture away. So
Mhm.
I run my home business now. I have my home premises. I wear what I feel comfortable in. I don't necessarily have to wear black or blue or gray. I wear whatever. It could be yellow. I remember I wore one dress. I can't even remember what the dress was. And the lady came in that was serving a service, and she was like, "Oh, I love your dress. It's very colorful, though." I was like, "Yeah, thank you, man."
Eventually, eventually. Yeah,
Oh, so
let me share a personal experience with you. When you were talking about accent and Yoruba, there's a place I always speak to people for mentorship and all that. So one of the girls was like a female and a guy, they were like, we don't understand your accent, that, your English, with you are speaking African, blah, 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 as in, I'm sure everybody in that class felt maybe I was damping or I was sad. No, I wasn't. I just told them that look, we are British trained people. We're speaking the real English, you know. Yeah, that's what I told them. They are now nailed it. You know, I nailed it. I said, this same class, this same set of people, I was doing it during COVID, you know, and
Mm.
not one person complained during COVID when I even had a mask. We all had a mask.
Oh, okay.
So if people during COVID didn't complain, on what
Understand
basis
me
they
then.
would complain based on, you know, that kind of thing. And nobody spoke up about it after because it was clear that they were just exhibiting some sarcasm there, you know,
Oh,
just
yeah.
wanted to
Oh,
make, yeah. I was audible enough, you know. I mean, I know I still have an accent, but it's not glaring, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm just trying to buttress the point. These things come, you know. It is what
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah,
overcome.
it's about our ability to. I always say you just have to explain yourself to people
You
and
have
let them
to
know. And,
confidently.
yeah, yeah. And once you do that, then they accept it, and then it's basically like, oh, let's get on with it.
Interesting. So, I mean, I saw you were in the executive of the Pharmaceutical Student Association in Nigeria and all that. You're vibrant, you talk well, you're a very confident person. Do you think you go to politics in the future? Do
Oh,
you
I
think
don't think so.
not even in the UK, like a Badenoch kind of, you know, Waheedat Owodeyi, leader of the, you know, blah blah blah.
We have what we call like we have what we call like the pharmaceutical society and
Okay.
stuff. I've run for that before. Royal Pharmaceutical Society of Great Britain. I think that was 2 years ago. That I run to be part of the board because you can be part of the board members. I did run for that one once. But I've not really looked into like doing anything in terms of politics or anything like that at the moment. I would say at the moment.
At the moment, because it's not impossible. You know, the way
Yeah,
I
at the
see
moment
it,
I'm not.
yeah. I
I'm
think
not.
you're a natural actually. I think you're
Oh no, I've not even looked at that at the moment because I'm just
natural.
focused on
I
like,
mean,
oh,
your
let
girls
me.
are grown. They're not a nothing mother like that. Your girls are not young. So
They're both teenagers now. They're quite
exactly.
they're quite
So
independent themselves. But I've not looked into, into
I
politics
mean,
at
like I
all.
said, maybe not in Nigeria, maybe in the UK, you know. We'll watch. I'll remind you when the time comes that I told you you're gonna do it. All right. So Waheedat Owodeyi, thank you for your time. I know you're busy. I've learned from
Mm.
you already, you know. So it's I'm sure there are a lot of younger people, a lot of women like you know, that have listened to you and they are encouraged by the fact that well, it's never easy. Nothing is easy, I tell people. Life itself is an undulating
Ups
plane.
and down.
Yeah, you solve one problem, another one just crops on like what kind of, you know? But it's all right, it's one of those things. So thank you so much for coming to Startup and Innovators. We're encouraged by your presence. And I might bring you again, you know, you never know, you never know. So to all our listeners, viewers in all the continents of the world, we've been speaking to Waheedat. She's a pharmacist. She owns a travel and tourism business. She owns an online pharmacy. Yeah, before we go, what's the name of your pharmaceutical business and all that? Tell people should hear you, you know. I'm sure
The name of the pharmacy is called the Pharmacy Express, and we're based in Great Yarmouth. Is in Norfolk in the United Kingdom.
okay.
Travel business is an independent travel agency, so
Mhm,
that you'll see me on Facebook as Owodeyi Waheedat, the same
mhm.
also on Instagram, and the pharmacy consultancy that's on my LinkedIn.
On your LinkedIn. Okay. So that's Owodeyi you are either LinkedIn, Facebook, you got all your name. Thank you. Thank you, Waheedat. Regards to the family. Thank you for your time. To all our listeners, you can see she clearly lived up to the billing and we will bring you back. I promise that. Take
No
care.
problem at
See
all.
you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank
Yeah,
you.
most welcome. Most welcome. Most welcome.